Dana, in 2018, Stacey Abrams never conceded. She still hasn't. I don't hear CNN calling her an election denier.
Guys, gotta tell you, I love Kari Lake. And the reason why is because she has the cojones to say what needs to be said to the mainstream liberal media, to call them out about their biases and their false narratives that they're pushing against Republicans in the GOP. The false narrative that they're pushing the most is this idea that, well, only the GOP, they're the only party that pushes so-called election conspiracies, right? Democrats have never questioned the election. They've never come out here and said that elections are illegitimate, right? Elections that they lose. However, that's what the Democrats do every single time they lose. They come out here and they make wild claims about the election. However, they're never, ever called out about it. And for whatever reason, the mainstream liberal media waited until after 2020 to start making a big deal about people who make claims about the election. Before 2020, it was totally fine, right? In fact, it was the patriotic thing to do, okay? Which is what they did for 4 years straight when Trump was president. They never accepted that he was a legitimate president, right? That is what the mainstream liberal media pushed. That's what they platform with the Democrat Party. So that being said, Kari Lake did a State of the Union interview with CNN's Dana Bash, in which Dana Bash, of course, is going to confront Kari Lake about her claims about the election that we can't repeat. And Kari Lake is going to set Dana Bash straight about how CNN never calls out Democrats when it comes to their claims about the election. Now, before I get into this clip, I have to give my disclaimer for YouTube because of the sensitive subject that we're talking about here. And in fact, the Democrats tend to make false claims about the election results when they lose. Every presidential election is 100% legitimate and fair. Every election is 100% free and fair. We got to make sure we say that before we get into these types of conversations. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the clip of this exchange between Dana Bash and Kari Lake. Take a look.
The real issue, Dana, is that the people don't trust our elections. They haven't since 2000. I'm a reporter. I've been sitting on your side of the desk for a long time. And since 2000, we have Americans who don't trust our elections. In 2000, in 2004, they didn't trust the elections. In 2016, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, and Hillary Clinton, everybody on the Democrat side said the election had problems.
Ms. Lake, there definitely
I'm sorry,
has been some of that, but I want to say in 2000, Al Gore conceded. In 2004, John Kerry conceded. In 2016, Hillary Clinton conceded, and we didn't see that in 2020. That's the difference. And so the question is, are you undermining faith in elections?
Dana, in 2018, Stacey Abrams never conceded. She still hasn't. I don't hear CNN calling her an election denier. We have the right, and it's protected with our First Amendment, to question our government and to question elections.
No question about that.
We still have the First Amendment.
Yep.
We still have the First Amendment. And when you start seeing the media cancel people for questioning their government, then that's when we have a problem.
I totally agree about the First Amendment. You and I are benefiting from the First Amendment as we speak. So I couldn't agree with you more on that. Let's look ahead,
Dana,
and let's talk about the 2022 election. Will you accept the results of your election, Ms. Lake?
I'm running against a twice convicted racist who cost the state taxpayers $3 million because of her hatred for people of color. She paid a woman of color in her office $30,000 less than men doing the same job. Last week, we learned she held a slave auction, a mock slave auction in high school. We saw her running from a black reporter, hiding in the bathroom from him. I'm not going to lose this election because
I'm going to talk to Katie Hobbs. I'm going to talk to Katie Hobbs right after we're done.
Arizona will never elect a racist like Katie Hobbs.
My question is, will you accept the results of your election in November?
I'm going to win the election and I will accept that result.
If you lose, will you accept that?
I'm going to win the election and I will accept that result because the people of Arizona will never support and vote for a coward like Katie Hobbs, who won't show up on a debate stage. She's single-handedly destroying a 20-year tradition of gubernatorial debates because of her cowardice.
Yeah, so that was an excellent job by Kari Lake. And I try to tell you guys, I think Kari Lake is honestly the best current GOP politician or somebody that's running for office when it comes to communication, being able to control a conversation. She is just the absolute star, right? At that, which is very important because look how she was able to turn around the framing of that conversation. Of course, the conversation starts off with Dana Bash trying to go after Kari Lake for being an election denier, right? But at the same time, we all know that the mainstream liberal media, they never have any heat for the Democrats and the fact that they are the ones that were the original election conspiracy theorists. They're the original election deniers. They've been denying the legitimacy of the presidential elections ever since Al Gore lost to Bush back in 2000. I played the clip. I don't need to play it again because I played it so much, but there's a clip out there of Democrats flat out denying every single presidential election that they lost. They went to Congress to contest it, which is their legal right. The same thing that Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley did, and a bunch of other Republicans did, that they smear as insurrectionists for doing that, right? Democrats did the exact same thing. And I think that the most important point here that Kari Lake brought up during this exchange was the fact that people being censored by the media, okay, and big tech for exercising their First Amendment rights, which is to question the government, to openly question the government. Again, I'm not against the Democrats making their claims about the elections. What I'm against is Democrats making their claims about the election, but telling the other side of the political aisle that they can't do it. What I'm against is the fact that big tech decided, hey, we want to censor these claims now that people that we disagree with politically are saying it, but they weren't censoring it when Democrats were saying it. Again, Democrats went a whole 4 years denying the results of the election, not conceding, not accepting the 2016 election results by pushing the Russia conspiracy hoax, okay, which essentially was their way of trying to get Trump out of office, of saying that he is an illegitimate president. Okay, that's what Democrats did. But again, the Democrats never get enough smoke for the fact that they were the original election deniers. The only people that ever get smoked for their claims about the elections are Republicans. So with that being said, Dana Bash did interview Katie Hobbs after interviewing Kari Lake, and Dana Bash did her job as a journalist and confronted Katie Hobbs on why she refuses to debate Kari Lake. Take a look.
You declined to participate in a PBS debate against Kari Lake. Here's what one columnist from the Arizona Republican wrote. Lori Roberts from the Arizona Republic, this is what she wrote. She wrote, if Katie Hobbs loses, remember October 12th, the day she ran away from confronting Kari Lake. Democrats in Arizona are known for snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, but Hobbs' refusal to debate her opponent on Wednesday represents a new level of political malpractice. Why won't you debate her?
Look, Kari Lake has made it clear time and time again that she's not interested in having substantive, in-depth conversations about the issues that matter to Arizonans. She only wants a scenario where she can control the dialogue, and she's refused to sit down in a one-on-one lengthy conversation to really clarify with Arizonans where she is on the issues. She's the one who's afraid of talking to voters where she's at, and we are doing everything we can to make our case directly to the voters of Arizona. And I guarantee you that when Arizonans who are struggling, when they go to open their ballot, when they're thinking about the fact that they're not sure how they're going to put food on the table, they're rationing their insulin, or they're thinking about having to drive their niece or their sister or their daughter to California to get the health care that they need, they're not going to look at their ballot and say,
she just
damn
came
it,
and
Katie
sat down.
Hobbs didn't debate her opponent.
She just came and sat down with me and answered my questions for a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of Democrats are questioning your decision, and they're saying, you know, it's the wrong decision. President Biden's former 2020 co-chair said, I would debate and I would want the people of Arizona to know what my platform is. If you think she's as dangerous as you're saying to democracy, is it your responsibility as a candidate who wants to run Arizona to show and explain who their alternative is?
That is exactly what I'm doing right now. And there is a lot more ability to have a conversation with you without her interruptions and shouting to do that. And yes, she did sit down with you. She's refused to do that with any legitimate reporter in the state of Arizona and take her case directly to the voters. She's only interested in creating a spectacle. And I guarantee you, People that are struggling in Arizona right now are not making their decisions about whether or not there was a debate between myself and Kari Lake. They're going to make their decision based on the person who understands their struggle and has real solutions to try to fix that.
Guys, you know the funny part about all this, right, when it comes to Katie Hobbs dodging the debate against Kari Lake, is the fact that the Democrat Party funded Kari Lake in the primaries, thinking that, well, Kari Lake is an extremist. There's no way, no possible way that she will be able to beat the Democrat candidate in the general election because Kari Lake is too extreme. So Democrats put cash behind Kari Lake, right? They did that to all the who they call extremist candidates, MAGA candidates across the country, right? Funding them. Now we're in a situation where the Democrats, their candidates are afraid to debate and to have conversations with the so-called extremists, which in my opinion is now contributing to the fact that a lot of these Democrat candidates, like, again, Katie Hobbs, has lost their leads and the races are a lot tighter than they probably otherwise would be, right? Again, that's the funny part about this. Democrats put all this money behind Kari Lake, thinking that she was a shoo-in to lose versus Katie Hobbs, and then their candidate, Katie Hobbs, wets the bed by refusing to debate Kari Lake. Which, I mean, you would think that if Kari Lake was so full of lies, right, why don't you just go and debate her and debunk her lies? Why don't you embarrass Kari Lake? But see, she already knows how that would go. Kari Lake will actually end up embarrassing her. She is afraid of Kari Lake. And this type of weakness that's being shown by Katie Hobbs, I think it's going to be the primary reason why she loses. It's going to be the primary reason why she loses. At this point, I don't understand how anybody, now again, I'm not an Arizonian. I only can speak on it so much. But if I was, I don't understand how anybody can go out here and vote for somebody who's afraid to exchange ideas, to debate their opponent. I mean, Katie Hobbs is afraid to even be in the same room with Kari Lake. Like, how in the world can you elect somebody to lead your state that is afraid to be in the same room with somebody? I don't think that Kari Lake is going to have to worry about any type of concession speech or conceding, because Katie Hobbs is the one that is essentially conceding this race by refusing to debate Kari Lake. And as long as she continues to be a coward like this, I don't see under any scenario how Kari Lake could possibly lose if the Arizona voters are actually in their right state of mind. I'm just saying. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.